Bust it.
Hello and thanks for staying with us and welcome to Political Platform. My name is Amechi and it's a beautiful Tuesday morning here at the nation's capital, Bedruma Hill, in Asokoro district of Abuja. That's our transmission point. It is a beautiful day, but in terms of statistics coming from the international arena, it's not very good for Nigeria. Before now, India is host to the biggest population of poor people in the world. In other words, India used to be the poverty capital of the world. We told you some months ago on this program that there were predictions that come 2019, Nigeria will overtake India as the country with the most populous poor people in the world. Poverty-stricken citizens, if you may wish to call it that. But a new report from Brookings institution says it's not going to happen in 2019. It has already happened in May 2018. The number of poor people in Nigeria got to 87 million, dusting India to the second place with 73 million. Every minute that passes, every 1 minute that passes, 6 persons in Nigeria are driven into poverty. This should be the agenda on the table of those in authority, those in political offices, and indeed every other Nigerian. What is happening to the extent that we are producing more poor people in this country? When, of course, they will talk of communal clashes, we talk of killings, we talk of so many negative indices. Are they not linked to the fact that more and more people in Nigeria, more and more Nigerians are driven into poverty? But trust the political office holders, they will not talk about this. Rather, they will want to talk about irrelevancies that will suit their objective. But we must always remind them of what should be their agenda. The people of the country. It was a reminder from Bill Gates, one of the world richest men, when he came and now advised the Nigerian government to focus more on the people instead of playing pranks with other issues, including infrastructure and what have you. It's very alarming that 87 million of our brothers and sisters are living in abject poverty. You understand? If you don't understand, then take a look at the description of poverty. In Osun State, it's not yet freedom for Kayode Fayemi, the APC governorship candidate, to contest the election. This is because Osun State. This is because the man. Yes, so Ekiti State, that's Ekiti State. Kayode Fayemi is the APC governorship candidate there. Professor Eleka is the PDP candidate. But recall when Fayemi emerged as the candidate of the party, he had not resigned from the federal cabinet. And the man he defeated in that primary election, Shegun Oni, has dragged him to a federal high court in Abuja, saying that he should be disqualified and himself be named as the right candidate because, among other things, Kayode Fayemi did not resign 30 days to the primary of the APC. He insists the 30-day mentioned in our laws is not for the main election itself, but for the primaries, 30 days to the primaries of the APC. So another hurdle for Kayode Fayemi to scale in Ekiti State. And the president says, I'm a man of integrity. You can accuse me of every other thing, but you can't accuse me of helping myself to the till. The vice president was in Plateau State yesterday, leading a federal government delegation. The military and the police we here have deployed more troops to that part of the country. Some are swearing that the figure of casualties is nearly 300. But the authorities have told us 86. Who do we believe? Casualty figures in Nigeria are always controversial. Talking of poverty, there's a move by the Nigerian government to target people, poor people, especially those in rural areas, with access to, of course, credits and facilities to empower themselves and indeed better their living. We'll be having some guests on this program, and they will be telling us about this new initiative of the federal government and how you can really take advantage of it. My colleagues are here. Uju, welcome to Political Platform.
Thank you, Amechi. Amechi, my heart has been bleeding since yesterday because of what happened in Plateau State. The gory pictures being, circulated. I mean, you can't imagine that a human being can do that to a fellow human being. Even little children. It's so terrible. The authorities need to do something. The country cannot continue like this. We can't continue a situation where a section of people in the same society go to bed and they're not sure that they are going to wake up the next morning when they're not ill and there is no danger, immediate danger before them. But somebody can just come upon them, pounce on them, and that is it. I mean, we're not a banana republic. We have authorities, we have security agencies. They must wake up. They must wake up and do something. Insecurity is the worst form of thing you can do to a man. What happens in Plateau State can not just be explained. It's just horrible, terrible.
Okay. Mustafa Mohammed is right here in the studio with me also.
I think I blame the Nigerian media. According to what the BBC and Premium Times reported yesterday, which largely the Nigerian media by 90% ignored, was that this crisis had been going on in the past 2 weeks. A lot of killings and cattle rustling, slaughtering have been going on. In fact, even on Thursday, there was another killing. The media did not report. Suddenly, if they have reported all these things that have been happening in Plateau in the past 2 weeks, I believe the federal government and the security agencies would have taken some serious steps. The media didn't go to the press with the issues until a reprisal attacks happened on Saturday. This is actually very unfortunate. The human life is no longer sacred. The human life is no longer, valued. Even people who have nothing to do with the crisis, they were traveling on the highway between, Jos, Nasarawa and Abuja. A lot of them became victims. Vehicles smashed, people butchered, and what have you. For how long should we continue to live in this kind of distressful situation? I think the various media organizations and their editors need to query their reporters who are working around Jos. What happened that the past 2 weeks killings have been going on, they are not reporting? Or did they choose to report one section of the Nigerian society? You really need to ask this question, because the cycle of revenge.
Yes, I think it's very strong questions. The media must.
The cycle of revenge will continue. The natives will attack the Fulanis will attack the natives. The media will report one section and will not report one section, and then maybe the security agents will not have information. They will
I agree with you. There's a need to really.
Beyond that, today is World Anti-Drug Day. We really need to commend
International Day Against Drug.
We really need to commend the Nigerian government for banning codeine and tramadol. We really also need to single out some individuals who are fighting, against drugs, like Yadoma Mandara, the governor of Borno State, Kashim, who demolished an entire area inside Maiduguri where they are selling a drug. Mr. Aballa, a director at the NYSC, who banned sale of drugs and substance. I think a lot of Nigerians need to join that crusade, because your child or wife or neighbor will be taking drugs and you may not know. Amechi,
let me quickly say that it is not right that the media would report a section and leave off the other section. But the truth is that it is not the media that does the intelligence gathering for security agencies. These things are not happening because the media did not report them. The security agencies actually, by virtue of their training and responsibility, constitutional responsibility, should be ahead of the media in knowing what is going on, in gathering intelligence concerning these things. These killings did not start today. They started years back.
Okay.
It's something that has been happening, and we have always harped on intelligence gathering in dealing with issues like this. So I do not think it's because the media did not report it that it's happening, but because the security agencies are not, they should pardon me, up to their game.
Of course,
but at the same time, the media also
must they can't be everywhere.
I think
from Maiduguri to Zamfara, you have security forces. There's crisis everywhere. You can't put them everywhere at the same time. You really need to comment them too.
The media did not report some killings, then there should be so searching for the media. But Mustafa said they should be queried. I wonder what will happen, what we should do to the security agencies who have failed woefully, much more than the media, in tackling their main responsibility, which is to guarantee the security of lives and property at a time. Additional billions and billions are being budgeted. Yes, maybe the greater blame should go to the government and to the security agencies. They take the major responsibility for the blame. Yes, there are some others that should take blame, but we must put them where they belong. The security agencies and the government must answer to all the killings that are going on. Now, one of the decisions that came out from the meeting of the National Convention of the APC over last weekend was the change in its slogan from change itself to progress. Recall that before 2015 general election, and at the time the APC was formed, it adopted the slogan changed. Now, that party has succeeded in effecting change at the federal level. But because it's in power now, it can't continue to talk about change, because if it continues to shout change, that means it wants itself to be changed. The PDP has unofficially been talking about changing the change. So to be on the safe side, the APC now changed its slogan from change, APC change, to APC progress. But the Social Democratic Party, SDP, says it is a stolen slogan, that the slogan belongs to it, duly registered with the Independent National Electoral Commission. In fact, it has gone ahead to write a petition to INEC asking it to force the APC to drop that progress slogan because it belongs to it. Very funny.
Is that what the Nigerian people needed? There is need for self-assessment both by the federal government and, of course, the ruling APC. You're talking about 3 years since inception. They need to tell us not the slogan change. They need to tell Nigerians how many projects have they conceived and completed. We just spoke about the poverty index. A global body is telling us that Nigeria has persuaded even India in terms of poor people. Well, what are the gains we have consolidated since coming to power by the new party? You are talking about 3 years and perhaps less than 1 year to go. I think there is need for them to speak on in terms of developmental, achievement, not slogan. You can't eat slogan on your dining table.
Okay, let's welcome our guest for today, talking about poverty in the world. Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world. 87 million poor people in our country. How many countries in Africa have this population as much as 87? Well, we can boast, not proudly though, very shamefully if you ask me, that we have this number. But there are some policies of government that may help to really deal with this poverty situation. The federal government has allocated 500 billion in the 2018 budget, among other things, to provide loans to millions of small businesses and social housing, various other programs rolled out by some other development agencies and banks of the government, such as the Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, Development Bank. International development organizations are also not left out, talking about the efforts of Bill Gates. They are all looking at how to support Nigerians living in rural areas by ensuring that they have access to microcredit. Joining me in the studio now are two persons, Shola Bikestet, President, Society for Agent Banking, and CEO, Financial Inclusion Centers PLC. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Also with Shola is Barrister Joy Omosagie, a legal advisor, Society for Agent Banking. Thank you for joining us too.
Thank you. Good morning.
Let's start with you, Shola.
Yes.
What is What does it entail for Nigerians, especially those in rural areas?
Like you said, government has released quite a large amount of money to help poor people. The problem is that those that particularly live in rural areas have no means of accessing that fund.
It's basically for those in urban areas?
No,
in terms of access?
Yes. As of today, the only people that are largely accessing them are people that are in the city centers. Because if you're in a rural area and they ask you for an ID, you have to travel to the city to go and get it. If you want to get money, you have to travel sometimes 1 hour, 2 hours to go and get money.
To even open a bank account, you need an ID, exactly, which most folks in rural areas don't have.
So it's a fundamental problem. So the money is there, but the people in rural areas simply have no means of accessing such actually large amounts of monies that are all over the place and available for them.
Barrister Osaje, how can those rural dwellers key into some of this program? We have seen the gap in terms of access because of some problems. How do we help them? Okay, Shola, you want to take the question?
Okay, so the solution is simple. You must have somewhere where you can go in your village, where you can apply for these loans. You must have people who have the knowledge to guide you and show you what to do. You must be able to register for an identity in the middle of the village, more or less, get a BVN number and all those things. So if you're able to set up a financial inclusion center in the village, then the people in that community are able to also benefit from the programs that are going on.
Can banks not be co-opted into this vision, into this project, so that it can be easier for the rural people?
In actual fact, the banks are the major forces behind the program. Just about some weeks ago, they released 21 billion to support the creation of what we call agent locations.
Agent banking.
Yes. So these locations that we're talking about will be working with the banks. It's not as if they will stand alone. They cannot license themselves. They have to work with licensed operators. But the banks have even gone ahead to say, look, we're giving you 21 billion. If you're in a village and you need to set up an agent location, we will support you with money to be able to gain access to these finances.
You talked about a financial inclusion center being set up in rural areas to service the rural folks. I don't know whether Barrister Joy will want to add something here. How do you describe a typical financial inclusion center? Okay, I think Shola will still take that question.
Okay. So a financial inclusion center is somewhere that is located within the community. And there are people who have been trained to more or less act as bankers to the people in that rural community. And that center has been equipped with all the things that are needed that they would have had to travel to town to gain access to.
How different is this from these community banks whose collapse we've been seen all over, while so many people in the communities have put their money in, because Nigerians need a scheme they can actually trust?
Yes, that's a good question. Now, the difference between this is that the community banks are owned, they is like one single organization that is providing to the community. Now, agent banking allows you to walk into an agent banking location, and you can have access to everybody, all the banks, insurance companies, mortgage houses. So you have choice. And so you're not like dependent on one single channel. It's like
a window to financial services.
Exactly. It's like a supermarket.
How many jobs are we targeting?
500,000 in the immediate. That is for the agents themselves. And of course, for the loans that the government wants to give out, the 500 billion targets to give out loans to 1.4 million small businesses across Nigeria.
But then, is it the banks that will provide the manpower, or those who are interested should apply to your organizations to key in?
Yes, that is actually why we're here. Because now, if you're living in a community, it is that community that has to set up that center. Government cannot come and set up that center for you.
The financial inclusion center.
Exactly. So when you set up that center, and then we can now guide you on the things that you need to do. We train the people that you have in your community. We provide you with all the equipment that you need, so that you practically own that center, and you can then relate with all the various financial service providers that are available in the country.
You're planning a nationwide financial inclusion and agent banking section.
Yes.
Session. What is it all about?
Now, the session is essentially for people who are interested. There are lots of, let me start with politicians who are trying to empower their people. There's no better way to do that by going to the village and setting up a center where the people in that community can access all these facilities. It's a long-term benefit than giving them rice and chicken during election. So we encourage community leaders, religious leaders also, business leaders, anybody who is a leader within their community and is looking for how the people can also tap into all these programs. And of course, we encourage them to come for a session. We're going across the country. We're going to start in Abuja. And then we're going to...
When will the Abuja session come?
Abuja session is going to start on Thursday.
This Thursday? So what other centers do you have across what other cities?
By next week, we're going to go to Lagos. And then by the following week, we're going to go to every state capital
where in
across
Abuja
the country.
Are you looking at?
The Wuse Zone 3 post office. That's where our office is in Abuja.
The post office in Wuse Zone 3?
Yes.
Who can attend? And is there a cost attached to it?
Oh, of course. The sessions are half-day sessions. They cost 12,000 naira each. If you are a community leader, if you are a political appointee who is looking for how to empower your people, senators, members of House of Reps, traditional rulers, people like that, professionals who are leaders in their communities.
Even philanthropists.
Yes, philanthropist. Anybody who feels that I want to empower my people. There are a lot of community development associations. If you're a president, secretary general of such associations, this is an opportunity for you to tap into this program and bring real change. People are already benefiting. About 250,000 people have accessed all these loans just this year alone, but there's 1.2 million people more left, and the money has been made available. It's now really for us to put them through on how to go about it.
You talked about politicians being involved. Pardon me, I'm just a Nigerian. Are there measures to ensure that the process is not hijacked by a particular person and maybe his or her supporters, but that it goes fairly round to everybody that needs it?
Remember what we said. Now, these centers are not owned by individuals. The only thing you can do is to lead the process on behalf of the community. Because you have set it up or you have supported it as a politician doesn't mean that it belongs to you.
Now, what are the contact numbers? If someone wants to be part of it, how do they contact you?
We can be reached on 08101 000101.
That's very fast. You have to take it slowly.
Okay. 08101 000101.
That's 081
01 000101.
Is there a second phone number?
Yes, there is. 0815 1515 111. I'll take it again.
Yeah.
0815 1515 111.
Okay, let me just run through the two numbers very slowly. 08101 000101 and the second number 081 51515 111. Of course, if they call, somebody will be there to answer and attend to them.
Absolutely.
This is definitely not going to be a one-off session, and maybe in the weeks to come, we'll come back here to take a look at these efforts by the government to really include the rural people into his microcredit scheme. Many of them already in existence. Thank you so much, Shola Bikester.
Thank you very much.
And that's it for today. I will be here tomorrow for another edition, but please don't forget to send in your comments into our email platform. On behalf of my colleagues, my name is Ait. We have a nice day.